What's up, YouTubers? Welcome back to the channel. Hope everyone's doing well out there. For today's video, we're checking out my new amp, my 1957 Fender Pro. So let's go. Cool. So obviously you guys know what today's video is about. It's about my new amp, my 1957 Fender Tweed Pro. A dream come true. You know, super lucky and grateful to now own this amplifier. I'm now all vintage gear. I have my 64 335, the Tweed Pro, my 66 Deluxe Reverb, and my 64 Bandmaster. Really cool. You know, as someone who is a big fan of the vintage gear, I have a really well curated collection, I think, and one that will get used a lot, which is the most important thing. So why did I choose the Pro? Obviously, myself included, a lot of us want the Deluxe 5E3. Right? Like you heard in the beginning, I played the Kid Charlemagne solo that's famously on a 5E3 Tweed Deluxe. And that was obviously on my radar when I made the decision that I wanted to go to a Tweed amp. But through my good friend Eduardo and his Tweed collection, consisting of a Pro as well, Tweed Deluxe, Bassman, you know, that sort of opened my eyes to the tone I was looking for. And so the fun began. I went over to his house, took my 335, started plugging them in, and essentially fell in love with the Tweed Pro. I think it had the combinations to do with the 15-inch speaker, the size of the cabinet, it's bigger than a Tweed Deluxe. And also it's just a bit more powerful, you know, around 25, 26 watts, I think. So it's just a bigger amp versus the Tweed Deluxe. A couple weeks would go by, I would find on Reverb a dealer by the name of 3 O'Clock Rock, and he was selling this amp, you know, and it was sort of good price, everything you want, cap-wise and parts-wise is there. And essentially all it needs is a 3-prong cable. And so, you know, that's when I started reaching out to him, talking, and lo and behold, this past weekend at the Three Amigos Guitar Show, I sold my Welligent Overdrive Special to another dealer, got the money, went to Billy at his booth, and became the owner of this, the Tweed Pro. Kind of how you want to find them, you know, very used, but all the electronics are there. Kind of shows it was really played because it's a good amp. So with all that being said, let's dive into some tones. So for today's rig, it's super simple. Guitar, cable, amp. Amp, I'm running into the UA aux, and because there is no 15-inch emulation in the aux, I am running it into a 12-inch Tweed Deluxe cabinet with the Jensen, just like this. And that's pretty much it. Here's my clean tone. Treble and bass at 6, instrument volume at 4. Check this out. Same riff, middle position. And then bridge pickup. It's a really great tone. Where the black panel Fenders lack the mids, the tweeds bring that back in, and for a humbucking guitar like this, it's just more powerful. It's really, really cool. If we turn the amp up to 5, let's say, that same tone is there, but just a bit more pushed. And to me, that gives me a bit more emphasis on my volume knob for dynamics, right? So if we do that same E major phrase on the bridge pickup, lower the volume, you know, that was just all volume knob, those dynamics. If we do another phrase, let's say like a room 335, that's on 10, but we lower it to, let's say, like 7 or 8. Clean. Right, back to 10. It's a great tone. You all know that Eric Clapton is like my hero. And it's no secret that over the years he's been playing a Tweed Bandmaster for his live sets, rebuilt by Dumble. There's the fine print, let's say. And it's pretty obvious all his EQ is at 7. So let's do that. With the 335, you know, you can kind of get ever so slightly in that cream type tone, right? Obviously, with a Tweed amp, when it comes to Clapton, you have to do even their dynamics. Let's see on the signature riff. Lower the volume knob. Clean. All his tones are right here, which is so much fun. You can also do, let's say, modern version of. So those are kind of like my go-to Clapton tones with this. To me, if you raise that volume to about 11, keep the EQ where it is at 7, there you sort of get into you're pushing it almost too far, but it sounds really good, right? So if we do like the Kid Charlemagne solo again, isolated, you hear kind of this. It really does that solo really well. In the beginning, I changed the mic to a U47, and I think it got me just a bit closer to that tone. The last thing I want to talk about when it comes to this amp is the common modifications. The one thing I did for this video, and in general, is I put a 12AX7 in V1. And that really brought the amp to the next level, in my opinion. The next modification I will do to this amp, upgrade, let's say, is convert this to 12-inch Celestion. To me, that'll round off the top end very nicely and get it just a bit more to the sound in my ear. So check this out. With the aux, same settings, all we're gonna do is change the speaker emulation. Okay, all I did, change the speaker emulation from the Jensen to a Celestion. And look at the difference it makes in the punch, the mid focus, and especially the top end. Look how much rounder it is. Right, even Layla. So much smooth. Kid Charlemagne. Much more smooth. For originality, yes, you keep the Jensen. But for me, for tone, you take out the Jensen, put it in the closet, put a 12-inch Celestion, and you're rocking. Well, alright guys, that is today's video on my new amp. You will definitely be seeing more of it on the channel. And with all that being said, if you enjoyed today's video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.